Phone line, check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Chris Lemonis joins us right now, head baseball coach at Mississippi State. And, Coach, I've been racking my brain trying to come up with a question that is the right question to ask to kind of start this conversation, and I don't know what it is. There were some weird moments throughout the course of the weekend, fall behind early Friday night, and you scratch back in, can't quite – it's just a hard weekend all the way around, I feel like. What's your thought?
Yeah, it's tough, and it's the way we lost a couple of those games makes it even tougher, knowing that you need some wins going out. And our kids are coming out, like you said, we fall behind 6-0 on Friday night. They fight to get back in it. Probably have a really good chance to win in the 8th, and we have some tough at bats there. And then, we lose 2 games late over the rest of the weekend. We've had a hard time pitching late all season, and it just kind of came back to get us in those games. So tough weekend. I thought our guys competed, but we're not doing enough right now.
When we talked to you after the Ole Miss series, Coach, you talked about you felt like your team had some momentum, that you had things going in the right direction. Just where do you think it turned for you over these last 2 weeks that it's sort of gotten away from you?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. We went to Missouri feeling really good. Played well on Friday night. We had a really tough loss on that Sunday, and then this week we like I said, we played a really good. I feel like Florida's playing really good right now, and I know their record. I'm looking at them thinking, that's your record in our league, because it's a really good team, and we needed to play really good baseball, and we didn't. That's really what it came down to. Is you're going to have to play really good baseball against a team like that, and we were short, and it's just like we're short in different areas. One night we don't get a start. One night we don't get a clutch hit. One night we don't pitch well late. Like it's a little bit of everything of trying to play a complete game to beat a really good opponent.
You told us last week that for you personally, this was the most frustrating season of your coaching career. When you think about your players, I mean, these are guys who came from winning programs in high school. They've been to the College World Series. They've been successful at Mississippi State. What's the level of frustration in the locker room, and what do the players tell you about what they're trying to do to get through this?
Yeah, that's probably one of the toughest things. They have so much pride in this program. They put it on themselves a lot, and I think that it's been tough. That's been especially after last year. You have such a great year, and you're coming back, and you want to. When I say repeat, I'm not talking about you want to win a national championship, obviously, but you just want to. You want to put a really good team, a really competitive team out there, and we just had our ups and downs all year, and I think that's weighed on the guys a little bit.
Chris, walk me through the 9th inning on Saturday night. I sat there and watched it, and Casey Hunt had the good 8th inning, and I guess gets the strikeout to start it, so there's an out, and looks like he's kind of getting a little extra, and then it gets tight, and then it feels like the emotions get high on both sides. There's just a lot going on there in the top of the 9th on Saturday night.
Yeah, that Saturday night was a little crazy. It got a little tight, I felt, from what it was all day. But I don't, it's not the reason you win or lose. I mean, it's one team's in one dugout, one's in the other. We get the chopper. They get an infield hit when he makes a good pitch. Then we walk a guy, and the walk. I still don't even know everything that happened because the hitter's yelling. He thinks our dugout's yelling, but I think he was yelling at the fans above our dugout. So we get a delay and all that, and then they get a couple big hits. Really, what happens? And after those hits, I felt like Casey probably trying to do a little too much and threw a couple sliders in there that just didn't slide a lot, and they got a hold of them, and made it from a close game to not a close game in a really small amount of time, and just you could see the frustration in our guys as that inning went on. Probably to the umpire a little bit, but probably a lot more just to themselves. They understand what these games mean, and so when we're close, but we're not getting over the hump, and it's just gotten to be frustrating.
So we were talking about this in the first hour of the show, and we understand the reality of kind of the lack of depth in pitching because of injuries this year, and yet kind of we're talking about the way fans are like, oh, you can't leave a guy in this long, or how can you leave him in? Do you have that like internal struggle right now when you're sitting on that top step going, I need to go get this guy, but geez, he's the best I've got right now. I can't go get him because there's nobody else to go get and put him in for?
That's a little bit of the dynamic. I mean, it is what it is because of what's happened this year. So it's put. There are times when we would take somebody out in the past, but right now we're trying to get through a weekend, and you're trying to maximize how many games you can win in a weekend. With our pitching staff right now, so it's just not as many options, not as much ability to manage. Where a lot of times we'd take them out, put a lefty in, get a lefty out, and then run a righty back in. We just don't have those numbers right now, and it makes it a little tougher. But it's still, if the ones we got, if we pitch well, we still can pitch well, and we haven't pitched great in certain spots lately.
Coach, last week on this show, we were talking about expectations, and Michael got on me a little bit because I said my expectations for Mississippi State baseball are to be a program that year in and year out is fighting to be a host. Maybe not a top 8, but definitely a top 16. That's my personal expectation. Obviously, this year is below expectations for everybody, but what are your expectations for the Mississippi State baseball program year in and year out?
I would say what you're saying. I really, truly, I know it's. We want to win the league. We want to win the tournament. We want to win all these things. But the reality is we want to host. I think that's our expectation. And we should be able to do that here in most years. We should be able to host. And I don't know if that's a national seed, like you said, but, the road to Omaha is through your home field most of the time. 70%, 75% of the teams host. And so that's what we set everything up for. That's what we talk about. We preach to the kids, and that's usually the expectation, and obviously this year we haven't hit that, and that's what's disappointing and frustrating. But I think that's our goal every year is to be able to host.
So Coach, I completely get that, and it makes all the sense in the world because of all that you've accomplished. But is the reality in baseball it just doesn't always work like that? And maybe the opponent from this weekend is the example that Florida's won a national championship, bunch of trips to the College World Series, and then they have a draft year where things go crazy, and all of a sudden they either don't get in or they're fighting just to get into the postseason. I mean, is that maybe the comparable example that it just doesn't always work?
Well, sometimes. I mean, things have to work, and you have to play well. But I think where we're at, I just think it's not crazy thought process. Getting to Omaha is a different thing because getting to Omaha, you could run into, I think, one of the best teams we've ever had here, was in 16, and talented and probably is more talented than maybe any team around. And you can get in a regional or super regional in a small series, but a whole year of your accumulation of work, being able to host and putting yourself in that spot. I think that's where it's supposed to be. And you should be able to handle some injuries. You should be able to handle some stuff. We've had some, but we haven't handled them well either. So, every team in our league has injuries. Everybody has stuff. We just, being who we are and where we're at and the home field advantage we have, that's a big piece we're always fighting for.
Final
have
thing
you,
for
have you been
is,
pleased with? Oh,
go ahead, Hayden. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got it.
No, I was just going to, you look at these final 2 weeks, huge challenge left. Got to go to College Station, an A&M team that's playing pretty well, and then the number one team in the country comes to your place. I know you want to finish it out strong and try and push all the right buttons.
Yeah, we're trying to win. We haven't rolled over. Our goal and our conversations with our kids, and tomorrow's another great day for us to play, and who knows what can happen in this game. And we're going to prepare, and we do. We have 2 top 10 opponents left in our conference play, and we're going to have to play great baseball and make up for something that happened during the year. Do I believe we can do it? Yes. I think we can play well over these last 2 weeks. We got good kids and they're talented. They just, we got to play a little bit better, and we got to play as a group this weekend.
Looking at the crowds this weekend, Coach, it's obvious the fans haven't given up on you as well. This has been a great year for attendance despite the overall record of the team. Has it surprised you that the fans have stuck with you as well as they have?
No, it's the number one fan base in college baseball. It is what it is, and they've shown up for a lot of years before I ever got here, and they'll be showing up a lot of years after I'm gone. And it's just a special thing. It's a community. It's a family here in Starkville. And they've done an unbelievable job. I was shocked. Saturday's crowd was huge. And, that's a big piece of why we're in that game is because we have that fan base. We have that crowd. And they've done an unbelievable, like you said, when we go on the road, we're in Pearl or we're in Biloxi or when we're on the road in conference, it's just amazing how many fans of ours travel. And have stayed behind us.